Alright everybody, sorry about the short delay. We are going to be working today on the iPad so yeah, let's get this going. Let's make sure this is on screen for you. You know what? Let me flip it around like this. So this is gonna be a little bit of a just try it out kind of thing. I'm just gonna be sketching a little bit, working on I'll probably work on gesture, then I'll do some anatomy, and then I'll end it on working on faces and heads. Yeah, so we'll do that, and I'm really excited. I'm going to try to start live streaming, maybe, I'm not going to make any promises, but at least once a week, but I want to try to get to twice a week at some point, just because I think that it's a good opportunity for me to just get some practice in, and while I'm practicing, kind of share my journey a little bit better. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with some, and I got a better setup this way too. At some point I'll figure out a way that I can get face cam on here as well, but this way I can watch the live chat over here where you can't see where I'm pointing, but I can watch that and still draw, so that'll be really helpful. But yeah, at some point I'll figure out the face cam business. The business. Ooh, that might be good practice. And for those of you who have not been on a live stream with me, if you're watching this a little bit afterwards, my name is Mike Lee. I go by Manga Mike on here. I am now actually working towards possibly doing some character concept art for a video game company is kind of what I want to do, and the reason why I want to do that is because it will give me good practice for working on comics and stuff like that, and it'll be something where I can work and practice and get paid for it, right? And I actually do really enjoy doing character designs anyways, so that is my new goal. Can't get there if you don't practice. So let's go ahead and start off with some quick 1-minute sketches. Before we do that, I just want to check to see if the chat is working on here. With my regular account, let's see if that pops up. If it does, it's delayed. Oh, yep, it works. That's cool. Awesome. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. So the things that I'm doing, they might not look super pretty, but this is how you work on the fundamentals of character design in particular. So even if it's not something you necessarily are going to think looks super pretty, actually, just remember that this is just me practicing, right? But it's really important to do these things regularly. So I should probably at some point put this in like the description, but there's a great gesture program on Cube Brush, and that's what I use. It's fantastic. Like, oops, I keep forgetting I was doing a minute and not what I typically do. But that's what I'm using right now to practice. For those of you who are unfamiliar with gesture drawing, the purpose of gesture drawing is to practice your getting the general shapes in as quickly as you can. Right now I'm not using very good references for quick gesture drawing, which is why I'm struggling a little bit, because the past two have been just upper bodies. But the purpose of this, you can see I haven't been practicing as much as I would like. Oh boy. Hey, what's up, Chris? How's it going, man? But yeah, the purpose of this is to just get in as many bodies as you can. And I don't like that. And it actually helps you when you draw bodies without reference and things of that nature. You'll see that you start to do things like balance the body and stuff like that, and provide a little bit more energy to your bodies. With just kind of naturally, right? Because, you know, in what will be, this part is just going to be in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes time, I will have done 10 bodies. And then, sorry, just concentrating. Jeez, man, these poses are something else. I haven't had like a regular standing pose yet. But, wow, that's small. It's alright. But, yeah, let me pause this for a second so I can talk. Not doing a good job of talking and drawing. But, yeah, so the purpose of gesture drawing is for you to practice drawing as many bodies as possible, and you want to get the general shape. And when you get the general shape, what that does is that helps you with drawing bodies later on and giving them fluidity. So if you have like really stiff drawings, that's what gesture drawing is going to help you with. So that is why we do this. And it's important if you're going to be drawing characters, it is extraordinarily important to do your gesture drawings. Alright, back to work. So I'm going to probably do this kind of practice at least, like I said, once a week. I might make it up to twice a week at some point, but as of now, I'm just going to lock myself into once. I tell you what, a good time to do this would be on the weekend after I submit, or maybe while I'm getting ready to submit. Oh my god, I'm trying to do way too much in 1 minute. It didn't come out too bad though. Like that one. Another thing with this is you want to use as the minimal amount of strokes, if I can talk. It's been a long day, if you can't tell. You want to practice that because the lesser your strokes, the more likely you are to memorize the pose that you're working on. I keep doing this and I need to just draw the body. But yeah, so sorry, I'm trying to like concentrate on what I'm doing and I'm out of practice. But yeah, so the stroke count will really help you as you move forward, because once you get used to doing less strokes and being more sure of your strokes instead of petting stuff, then it will help you with one, memorization, and two, actually even line quality. So if you have really jagged, hairy looking lines and it's looking unprofessional, this is another way to kind of work on that. And it's really fun, actually. Like, I didn't used to like gesture drawing because I never really saw, like, it felt like it didn't have a purpose. But after I, like, understood how much it was actually helping me, and I just kind of got used to having it be, like, you know, somewhat routine. Like, I at least try to do it once a week. Man, is it fun. It's like, it's a different kind of challenge. Alright, that's probably one of the better ones I've done of that particular gesture. Ooh, it's hot in this room. Fellas, I need to get a fan or something. I also need to really rework the music situation here. Oof, did I just do a backwards foot? I think I did. Alright, we'll go with that. Alright. Oops. That one came out real rough. There's a lot of foreshortening in that one, so a little hard to just do a gesture on that. That's not the right angle of the face. That's another thing, is that doing these kinds of gestures and things like that, and I recommend having a program that you can do the same gestures over and over again. And the reason for that is, one, you do want to try and learn as best as possible some of these gestures into your memory, because then you can start to suture gestures together on your own. And I really just keep doing the same thing, the same mistake, which is I'm trying too hard to get these volumetric forms, and I actually need to just get the general pose in there for this 1 minute one. But I think this might be the last one. Here, let me pause this just for a second. So, it's good to do the same gesture a few times over and over again, or not even just a few, but have like the same gestures that you consistently do. Because what that'll help you with is it'll help you with, I wonder how the sound is on this. Let me see something here. Hopefully y'all are hearing me all right. But anyways, what that'll do is it'll help you over time to one, memorize poses so that you can kind of stitch them together and create new poses from your own memory, but it'll also help you check your proportions, because after you draw the same thing over and over and over again, even if it's like you only actually drawn it maybe once every other week, your brain starts to correct itself as you're looking at it, and as you get better at doing gestures, you start to make these small corrections that'll allow you to really resituate the way that you draw, bodies in general. It'll help you with your proportions, it'll help you with all that stuff. These aren't the greatest, but the one thing I can say about most of them, except for maybe this one right here, is that they're in pretty good proportion. This one's a little off too, but the fact that I can also tell when they're off is really important as well, because where you run into trouble when you're trying to become a professional artist of any kind is if you are making mistakes and you don't even see them, right? That's not good. You want to be able to see your mistakes so you can correct them in the future, and gesture drawing is another way to get there. Alright, so... Alright. The same thing again, but that's alright. Alright, so that is 1 minute gesture drawing practice. So let's move on to... I'll do some, what did I say? Yeah, I'll do some anatomy really fast. So... something that I recommend getting if you can, they're really cheap, it's on Amazon. Get yourself something like this. This is really, really helpful. Something that has all the muscles. So, for instance, you can see here, you can see the rotator cuff muscles here. You can see where they start, where they stop, how they overlap or go underneath other muscles. And stuff like that, and this is using this as a consistent reference for yourself is extraordinarily helpful, because this, even if it's not 100% accurate, it's pretty close, right? So for instance, like hamstring muscles and things like that, it's pretty close to what you're going to be seeing in real life, and at the very least it gives you a reference that you can consistently go to that is, at least mostly accurate. I also have one just for the head. Alrighty. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. Yep, I think that I got a set with a male and a female, and that set was, I want to say, $35 US. So it's pretty inexpensive, especially for the value that you're getting. Also, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've ever seen your name on stream, so welcome. Alrighty, let's work on... My leg anatomy has been real shaky the past few days, so I'm going to work on that. So for legs, to start, I like to use a box for the hips and the pelvic area, and then I just like to use, for the most part, when I'm doing stuff from like imagination, which is kind of what this is. I'm using a little bit of a reference off to the side, but mostly imagination. I like to use these like little noodles, just like a little stick figure. And the reason for that is because I can make quick mistakes, correct them, and I don't have to worry about trying to change forms. And just so as you're watching you can see what I'm seeing in my brain, I do see this form right here already, right? I'm just not going to draw it. What I'm going to do instead is I'm gonna work on the muscles. So you get your, I don't even know what to call this, but your like abdominal muscles kind of swoop down like this, and then you get this point like right in here, and that's where the quads kind of start, and then you want to come down to the knee right here with this ovular shape, and the inside here, I can show you on this model, the inside part of your knee, of your quads, it reaches down. I know this is probably a little hard to see. I'll work on the lighting, but it reaches down on the and comes down a little lower on the inside of your leg than it does the outside, because these are three actually different muscles. The fourth quad muscle, that's why it's called a quad, is actually underneath and it kind of pushes out, so you don't really see that, but you do see this one right here. I wish I remembered the names. I'm gonna have to relook up the names. Oh, that's gonna bother me. So you have the inside one, the outside one, and I remember this name. This one's the rectus femoris. So you have those three, and the way that they show up here is, oops, just erased. They're gonna come down like this, and then you're gonna get your knee, and then this one's gonna kind of come up. So this one's down a little bit. This one's gonna kind of come up, and then they're kind of gonna meet right here, and then this one is gonna pop out right in here, and they all kind of go to a similar point. They don't all go right to this specific point here, but they go to a similar point. Similar, huh? Similar. And then from this view, you do see a little bit of the glutes. The glutes, the way that they attach is they actually attach to your femur. So that's the big bone in your thigh. And they kind of originate here and attach down in here, if I'm thinking about this correctly. Yeah. So you get something like this. And there's two different muscles. There's the maximus and I think it's called the minimus, but regardless, you get another muscle that's kind of on top here. So that's kind of what you're going to get from this view, and I'll clean this up afterwards. The next thing is your IT band. Your IT band originates like kind of up here. This is called the iliac crest, this pelvic bone right here. It's the iliac crest. And your IT band kind of attaches right here on the midpoint of that. And it ventures down here. And let me see here. Yeah, it ventures kind of down and kind of splices off a little bit of that outside quad muscle that we were talking about. I know this is a little sloppy, but I will clean it up in a second. So it kind of splices this off. And then on this view as well, you're going to get a bit of the hammies, the hamstrings. So you're going to have something like that. For your, it's called a gastrocnemius, is what the calf is called. You're just going to use an oval that kind of goes towards the inside of the ankle, inside of the body. So the outside is a little higher than the inside is. And you're going to get a shape that's kind of like this. It comes down to your ankle bone. This might not be super accurate because of the angle. Let me see here. The angle is more like that. Yeah, so you're going to get, this is going to be hidden on this side just a bit. Rule of thumb, this needs to be wider than the knee. So as you can see right now, I don't think it really is. So I'm going to stretch that out a bit. Then you also, like your IT band, I forgot to finish it out. Your IT band kind of comes down and attaches actually down in here. So you get this, and that finishes kind of the outside of the leg right here. I want to say that this muscle is called the soleus, but this one originates from here as well. And I believe, yeah, and it kind of... Actually, no, I'm thinking of, what muscle is this? Is this the soleus? No, soleus is down here. I think this is the... it doesn't matter. Anyways, this muscle comes down. I need to relearn these muscles. And attaches to the inside here. And it kind of splices off a little bit of the very inside of vastus medialis. Yes, that's what that muscle is called. So it splices off the inside of that just a bit. Comes down here. Wraps back around this way, so it's coming like that almost, and comes right down in here. So that is from this angle. I believe most of the muscles that you'll see, you'll get a little bit of what's called the grassless muscle, which is a muscle that attaches to the inside of the pubis right here and comes straight into the femur. Alright, so I'm going to just quickly scribble in this other leg really fast. So you get your quads. You're going to get a small little divot right in here as well. Get your knee. And then gastrocnemius is here, and or calf muscle. You're going to get your, I can't remember what that one's called, but that's going to come in here. And the IT band kind of comes down like that. I think that's what that one is. And you get a little bit of this action here. And I'm just going to kind of jot in some feet. Just as a rule of thumb, the foot is about 2/3 the size of your shin. So that's how you can quickly think about that. I'm not going to go into detail on how to do that right now. Let's clean this up, or how to do a foot, I should say. Let's clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to add another layer and go ahead and draw this. You can tell that I'm still a little bit weird about getting this in here because I have been really struggling with my leg muscles recently. I really need to go back and study. One thing that I can see that's really off, oops, sorry, I hit my head on the camera, is my proportions here. I just now noticed it. Even though this is from a view that's going down slightly, the upper leg, I think, is a little too long. It's not as bad as I thought. It is slightly off still, but that's something that you need to figure out in that phase where I was doing kind of the little sticks. But yeah, Just wanted to say that out loud because I'll probably fix that in a second using some tools just to save a little bit of time. Alright, just cleaning that up a little bit and adding that. And I'm going to go ahead and finish that off. Add the glute. And let's see what we got. A little sloppy with my line work, but anatomically not too bad. Yeah, I need to definitely go back through and study my leg muscles though, because it's not horrible, but just looks sloppy just because I am rushing my line work, but that leg looks broken. That's a little too bent looking for me. There's definitely a bend there, but let's put this back on. Might have exaggerated it a little too much. Alrighty. So that was lower body. I will do a quick upper body one. Let's do it. Yo, what's up, man? How's it going? What's my name? What a great YouTuber name. I love it. Alrighty. So I'm going to do, let's quickly do upper body. What kind of angle? Let's just do a 3/4 view. Oops. It's the only thing I don't like about using this pencil is that it, like, if you're not careful, that thing will poof. Alright. So let me refrain from putting in muscles quickly. So these muscles I know much better than the leg muscles, because when I practiced these ones I really memorized them because I knew how important they were. But all muscles are important. Moral of that story. Alright. Another measurement thing. The size of the rib cage, if you take it and you plop it down right here, that's about where the pelvic bone is going to end. So you get something like that. Oops, I probably should have done this on the other layer. That's alright. So I can quickly go through from top to bottom the muscles that are in the torso and the arm after I finish this head. Alright, so the first thing that we get is the what's called the sternocleidomastoids. Those muscles start in the back of the head back here, and they wrap kind of around, maybe not quite that much, but they start in the back of the head and wrap around to the collarbone, the clavicle. And then they have this like almost baseball bat shape to them. Alright, so we got that. Probably spelled that incorrectly, but that's what it is. Sternocleidomastoid. Then, the other muscle, trapezius, comes in right here. Also starts kind of in the back of the head from this view. And it has, this muscle's really big, by the way. It actually goes down to about here. So it's kind of shaped like that. But from this view, you're only going to see a little bit of it. All right, and then we'll start with, or we'll go on to the pectoralis major. So this one back here is the traps. And then, so this muscle, pectoralis major, people, I don't think people really understand what this muscle does, and it's actually commonly misdrawn. And the reason how you can tell, or the way that you can tell that it's commonly misdrawn, is how people draw the bicep. So a lot of people draw biceps and they draw them kind of like this with the trap, and this muscle just kind of is here, right? That's incorrect. So the pecs, they actually go from your what is that bone called? Can't think of what the sternum. There we go, the sternum. They go from the sternum and they reach up to your humerus bone, so your upper arm bone, and then it goes from this part right here, the humerus, up to your clavicle. So that is what happens with the pecs. And what ends up happening is your bicep actually slides underneath the pec. So that's why I say that it's commonly misdrawn. So that slides underneath, and then you get your shoulder muscle that kind of goes on top of all of them. And the shoulder muscle takes up about half the space. I drew it a little too big, but takes up about half the space, so it's going to be right here. And it wraps around to the shoulder blade here. I don't know why I'm having such difficulty drawing that, but you get the point. And then the tricep is the next muscle. And that wraps right about there. Then you get, what is that muscle called? Brachialis muscle. Splits the bicep and tricep, and then you get this, I can't remember the names today. That's what happens when you have a long day of work. Brachioradialis muscle. This muscle starts at the halfway point between, let me backpedal. The brachialis muscle goes about halfway down from where it starts at the deltoid, goes halfway down and it kind of splits the bicep and tricep area. And then that's where the brachioradialis muscle kind of fits in. So you're going to get this right here. And this muscle is going to go about halfway down your forearm and stop. That's as far as it reaches. And it's going to be going towards your thumb. Okay? So it's going to wrap around like that. Let's pretend that the thumb is there. And the elbow comes down, and that always lines up. The ulna always lines up with the pinky. And then you get this, I'm trying to think here. Let me look. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this muscle right here in the forearm is going to go about 3/4 of the way down the arm, and it's just going to kind of just spread out into the back of your hand here. So that's what happens with that muscle. And you get an arm. So let's move back over to here, to the torso. So we have the pecs done. Now it's time for your abdominal muscles. So your abdominal muscles, if you've seen how people kind of draw them, they draw them like out, then kind of in or down, and then out again. The reason for that is because your ribs kind of come out. They poke out right here just a little bit, so that's why your abdominal muscle pokes out. And then it comes back down because there's no bone in here. And then you get like your belly button, and it pops back out because of all the guts and stuff that's in your in the pelvic part. So that's why you get that kind of zigzaggy shape. So repeat that over here. And this is a little exaggerated, of course, but you get something like that. The next muscle of interest is probably the obliques. Obliques kind of have this strange quality about them where they do attach down in here, but they only really build in this area, right? That's as far as they'll build. And they kind of wrap around the like that area at the bottom of your rib cage, and in between that and the bone that comes up here. So they kind of wrap around, and really you're just kind of follow this line right here, and you're pretty much done. That's kind of the obliques. And now you're gonna get these I can't remember what these ones are called, these like zigzaggy rib cage muscles, serratus anterior muscles, that's what they're called, that kind of go like this. I only draw 3. There's technically like 5, but they just go and they follow along the rib cage. So they're pretty simple, but there's this interesting effect that happens between those and the obliques where you get this kind of splaying action that happens right there. And then last but not least, you get the deltoid. No, not the deltoid. What is that called? It's this back muscle right here. I'll show you with the model. But you get this muscle. What is that? Lats, sorry. The latissimus dorsi. There we go. That muscle kind of starts off... Oops. Come on, pencil. That muscle starts off on the outside of this bone and drops down like this. So you'll see a little bit of that in the back. And that's it. That's all of your muscles in the torso, and I did all of the leg muscles over here. So that's the musculature of basically the entire body. I did skip a few, but that is anatomy in a nutshell. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that out over here. So that's the delt. Let's say that the thumb is here. So we're going to get the bicep that slides underneath the pec. From this angle, probably more likely to see, let me see here, so thumbs here. You're going to see the trap on this side, I think, in a little bit here. Then the bicep is going to kind of divide the forearm muscles, but they're going to wrap around this way, I believe. It's another muscle group that I need to go back and figure out again. And this one's here. Oops. Let me shrink my eraser a little bit. Go back here. Alright. Make that bicep a little bigger. Alrighty. Cool. Alright, so that is anatomy done. So now I'm going to go ahead and just do a few, I'll probably do, I don't know, let's say like, let's do like 10 or 15 quick heads, and then I'll wrap up, and I'll come back for another live stream. I wanted to only do about 30 minutes, but I had a lot of fun, so let's see how quickly we can get through some heads. Alright, so let's do one that is looking upwards. Oops. So let's do it like this. So yes, I'm back to doing the cube method for heads. I often switch between doing this method and the Loomis method. And that's because I learn something new every time I switch. I don't know what that's about, but I do. And one thing that I've learned about myself is the reason why I like this cube method so much is actually, I don't think you'll see any in the under part of the chin, but the reason why I like this cube method so much is actually because it helps with the angle of the head, and it helps me visualize that angle a little better. Alright, so that's one head down. Always, when you do heads, always provide neck as well. It's important to get that neck in there. Alright, let's do front view, but here, I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to do a front view like this, but I'm going to have the head facing down just a bit. So that's what I'm going for. Also, if y'all wouldn't mind if you're rewatching this and somehow made it all the way to minute 50, if you like this setup where I'm using the iPad like this, just tell me about that, please, because I'd like the feedback. I know a lot of people like to watch like the hand actually going. Alright. Also, if you like it, if you like to do this, I would recommend just adding some really basic like facial features. This is just doing this kind of stuff really fast helps you with your ability to one, visualize and kind of do, but also it's just the practice of trying to get heads in different angles. Once you can get this stuff down, that's when you'll start to see your like improvements in drawing faces in general, and also your consistency with drawing faces. So yeah, that's why we practice this way. All right, so now I'm going to take the head. It was kind of like this. Now I'm going to take it and tilt it even further down and put it down like that. All right. And I am not using reference for this because I am pretty comfortable drawing heads at almost any angle without too much reference, because I've kind of practiced this many times. Oh, I'm going to show you all a little trick, by the way. So if you're struggling to figure out how much chin needs to go down here for when you are drawing a head in this kind of downward angle, because sometimes it's a little difficult, what you can do is you start here. First of all, you need to extend these sides down, but you start here and you draw a diagonal line that goes through and hits on the other side. And oh, that's a little long. That's because I'm off, but anyways, that's how you would measure so let me, there you go. So that's how you would measure that. I kind of eyeball it because I've done that particular measurement a billion times. But sometimes if I'm doing a piece of art that's really important, I will measure out when I'm doing this first pass through. No, the neck I think would be more like that, more underneath. Ear. Just in case you were wondering, the way that I learned how to do this particular method is from Kuzumari. I'm sure if you're on this channel, I'm sure that you've seen his stuff before. He's a fantastic artist, but that's where I learned this cube method. All right, let's fly through some. Let's do this angle. Oops, it's a horrible line. This is probably right here. All right, another one done. Let's do another lower camera angle, so head's facing upwards. Let's do it like this time. So this angle is tricky because you start to see a little bit of the underside of the jaw. So you're going to get something like this. The jaw's a little long, so I'm going to pull it up this way a bit, but this part still stays back. Alright, and then if I were to visualize this, I think the ears are actually going to be kind of like right in here. As funny as that might seem. And I think too, I need to cut off a little bit more of this head. And then to really sell this view, you gotta get that nose right. Which, I don't know if I did a great job, but... Here I can, sorry, let me zoom in on that. It's a little crooked, but a little bit, by a little, I mean a lot of crooked. A lot of bit crooked, huh? Let me see here. Why is it situated like that right now? That's weird. Sorry. But that is how you would draw the low angle. And I'm going to go ahead and add the structure to the face. Alright, and for angles like this, it's always important to check yourself. So it's not bad, but where I messed up is, oops, right in here. Always correct yourself after you have, and the eyes are a little off, but always go back and correct yourself using reference when you're trying to draw from imagination if you're not 100% sure, because if you don't, then you're learning things incorrectly. Alright, so let's move on. How many heads? I got 5. Let's do 5 more and I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate y'all sticking around in the stream as people have been trickling in and out, and I just really appreciate it. It's the first stream in a while, so it's like, it's pretty nice to see that. I think I already did this angle, did I not? Nope, not yet. It's just nice to see that some people have been popping in. Gives me hope. Alright. Oof, that's a thick neck right there, boy. If you're wondering, this like little line thing that I do, this is for the side of the face. So as you can see, let me see if I can get it like kind of side by side. So this part of the face, if you can tell, it sinks in a bit. So that's why I consistently, like even up here I could probably do it, I try to consistently add that, because that's going to tell you where you're supposed to be shading at. So pro tip. Alright, let's try to do, so here, I like doing this. This is really fun to do. So I don't know if you've ever heard somebody say to do this exercise, but if you do this exercise where you kind of rotate a cube, and then you learn how to draw heads this way, you can then draw a head in any position that you want, right? Because you're so used to rotating a cube that now, when you go to add the structure of the head, it's super easy, right? That's another reason why I like this method. For me, it's easier for me to visualize what angle something is at, right? With the Loomis method, it's a little more difficult, and that's probably just because I'm a goon, but it is a little more difficult for me. This could probably go up a little more. The jaw's too big. Alright, so then you get three at least similar, God, why do I keep saying similar? It's in word. Similar head shapes. Right? Alright, how many do I have now after that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's do maybe a slightly more finished head. And I'll make it bigger. Let's do a slight up view. I'm going to do a view that's similar to that one, but maybe a little less. Is that accurate? Let me see. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright. Oh, lordy. Alright. And I'm gonna pop this down to here. This out over his head looking a little wonky. I think this back piece is a little too big, so I'm going to actually, you know what, let's start over because start off on a shaky foundation. Sorry, sometimes you just gotta erase stuff. Alright, so if it is a slight under view, that face is going to be going that way so that it gives room. Whenever you mess up something, always go back to the fundamentals. If you get your fundamentals down, it's hard to make a drawing that's bad. It might not look great, but it won't be bad. All right. Alright, yeah, this is coming out at least a little bit better than the last one. Still not 100% there. Let's see something here. Sorry, busted my head on the thing again. Alright. Sorry, everybody. Concentrating. This is not exactly right. All right. Yeah, that's ugly. was before. Alright. It didn't turn out too bad. Alright, everybody. Well, I am going to get ready to jump off, but it was great practicing with y'all. I appreciate all of you for dropping in. For those of you who just joined, because it looked like a couple of people just jumped in, I'm going to try to do this a couple of times a week. I'm probably going to come in tomorrow and work on some actual projects for myself, but this is what I started with, just 1 minute gestures. And then I went on to do anatomy. So I did leg anatomy, and then I did upper body anatomy. And then I went into some heads. So I drew 10 heads. I'll probably keep increasing the amount that I do as I stream more. But man, I really appreciate y'all coming in. It was a pretty warm welcome back into streaming. I think I had I don't know if it was same people jumping in and out, but had several people come in and comment and stuff like that. It's just really it's really nice to see that. So I really appreciate every single one of y'all. All right, well, that will do it for today. I might come back and do some more streaming tomorrow. I'm doing a project. I'm gonna be working on Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. I'm gonna do a level 1, level 30, and level 50 version of him. So just kind of showing how he might look if he were to level up. But yeah, I'm on the mic. I appreciate y'all, and I'm out. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Appreciate you dropping in, bruh. Alrighty. Peace, everybody.